Hi everyone, thank you for joining. We're here today at the Private Capital Investment Conference being hosted at the ASX, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to sit down with Brent Ogilvie, the Managing Director at Pacific Channel. Brent has been a driving force in shaping New Zealand's venture capital landscape, focusing on deep tech innovation within food, health, and the environment. And today we are going to dive into some fascinating topics surrounding venture capital opportunities and more. Welcome, Brent. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, Brent, Pacific Channel has been pivotal in shaping New Zealand's venture capital landscape, particularly in the realms of deep tech innovation within food, health, and the environment. So, can you explain how your approach differs from some other venture capital firms?
Firstly, we start with the customer. So if you think about it as a venture capital investor, we generate returns by exits. So before we invest into any new matter, we always actually look to see who might acquire that business and talk to them before we invest. So we typically talk to 2 or 3 potential acquirers. And then we assign someone in our team to be an investor director who's responsible all the way through from start to exit for driving that successful outcome for us and our investors. I think too, we have a very strong team. We've got 6 PhDs in our team, deep technical expertise, all of who have themselves successfully commercialized their own technology from innovation through to market. So they're not just boffins, and we understand also those steps to get a technology successfully through to market and to an exit. And finally, we are tightly focused on working with universities and research institutes, and we've developed, I think, a special expertise in helping spin out companies from those institutions. And then we've also, as a bunch of operators, all our partners are experienced as operators and have had their own exits. We then help build those companies at whatever stage they come to us in their investment lifecycle.
Amazing. Now, it's clear that Pacific Channel has a very unique approach. Now, with 20 years of experience, 50 investments, and over $100 million under management, you would have seen many promising startups come through. So, what are some of the unique challenges that you face as an investor when selecting what to invest in?
Yeah, of course, they don't all work. So we've had 8 successful exits from our 51 portfolio companies. We've generated very nice returns from that. We've generated an average 86% IRR over the last 13 years. But you need to be mindful you're investing into a portfolio for a reason. And unfortunately, 10 of our companies have outright failed. And that's okay as long as you learn from that experience. And so, typically for us, the risk we're investing into, if it's early, is a technology development risk. If it's later, it's a market entry risk. If they fail for those reasons, we are resigned and accepting of that, but we hate to see them resign for reasons that they shouldn't. So for us, startups are not a place to learn. We look to have experienced operators in the key roles in the team and provide our operational experience to really help them thrive.
Amazing. Now, when evaluating opportunities in your sectors of interest, you must have key criteria to assess potential investments. So can you walk us through what that process involves and how it differs from each thematic area?
Sure. So we've got a partner in the firm responsible for each of our 3 themes, so future of health, ag food, and the environment. And also within that, in a team, we've got people that are experienced at the earlier stages, and the assessment of that is much more around the technology risk. And at the later stages, the assessment is more around the market entry risk. Now, a lot of the criteria is common across those deep technology company types, but actually a lot of it is also very specific. So we're looking for example, in healthcare, wonderful, it's a great place to start with patient benefit, but you also need to make sure that the regulatory environment can be addressed within your capital constraints, that the reimbursement will be there, that you are aligned with the doctors and the hospitals to ensure that actually there is take-up of the technology once successfully developed.
Amazing. Now, pivoting slightly, what emerging trends or technologies have you seen that as an investor you are excited about, and why do you believe that they hold significant investment potential?
So everyone talks about AI, and for us, AI is also increasingly important. But I think it's important to remember in deep tech, especially, it is a tool. It's a tool that can enhance precision, enhance productivity, and it's a tool that's doing that for a number of our portfolio companies. We have a company, for example, diagnosing whether you have a malignant or non-malignant cancer, and the technology was good at that, but it became great at that with the enhancement through AI. So it's an important tool. Like anything, though, in the end, it'll need to either improve a product or reduce a cost. And I don't think a lot of the AI first companies that are being launched will ultimately be successful because they're not sufficiently focused on either of those two outcomes and ultimately on customers.
Now, focusing a bit more locally, are you also investing in Australia, and what opportunities that you see to apply your investment approach to this market?
Yes, so we've made now 4 investments in the last year in Australia, and so we're increasing our activities here. We'd like to, again, replicate our model, investing early. We think there's a gap in the market in coming to universities and research institutions and helping them form companies. We also, though, think our strength is being a multi-stage investor, so being able and prepared to invest early and build those companies, but being a company builder all the way through. So in deep tech, we think that is not widely addressed in that way in Australia. And again, we want to operate across our 3 key themes of health, food, and the environment. We likely will structure as a ESVCLP in Australia to provide those advantages to our Australian-based investors.
Now, Brent, beyond your role as the managing director of Pacific Channel, you're also involved in initiatives which are centered around economic prosperity and education. So what inspired you to get involved with those initiatives?
We've been very fortunate to generate significant investment returns, both for us and for our underlying investors. And, we felt a responsibility to help people in our community that weren't, benefiting from that. We've created over 1,000, high-paying jobs, but we thought we wanted to do more with certain parts of our community. And so initially we've worked with the Samoan community. We've set up a charity that helps fund and mentor young Samoans into tertiary education where they otherwise could not access that opportunity. And it's been very successful. And we've had, graduates through that program that are now, having some significant roles in the economy, which is satisfying. And then lastly, we've worked with Māori to try and assist them economically, to make the most of, their land assets. So help them with funding and initial management expertise to create some economic independence on their own land.
Amazing. That's wonderful, Brent. Now, finally, Brent, as we draw towards the end, I'd like to touch on your experience here at the Private Capital Investment Conference that we are hosting at the ASX. So can you share any key takeaways from the event so far, just reflecting on your experience participating?
Yeah, so I've just come today. As always, you, Steve, and the team put on a good show. It's great to see such a mix of investment opportunities and investors all in the same room. And I think there's partly a process of matching, but also there's the serendipity of who you have a cup of tea with. So that is all to be encouraged, and we look forward to being an ongoing partner with you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brent, for sharing your wonderful insights into the work that you and your team are doing. For our viewers, we hope you found this interview as insightful as we did. I look forward to seeing you all in my next interview. Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.